Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders.
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by
Kale Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
The Rob and Kale podcast.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening, wherever you are setting yourself up. Appreciate it as always. And welcome into the program. The gentleman that is the best Gamecock YouTuber on the planet. He is, of course, Mr. Carolina Jackpot Kale Hall, who is getting himself squared away here in the upstate. Got a welcome to the program, Kale. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, Rob. How are you this evening?
Good. Went and played golf with the daughter this evening, and going to get through the podcast. Got all kind of good stuff to talk about this evening.
Like nighttime golf?
No, we got done. She gets done at school, and we try to play 9 holes at 5 o'clock is when we try to play. So sun's still out now that the spring's here.
Yeah.
Get 9 holes in. Yeah. So there's that. Anyway, I hope you had a good day. We got stuff we're going to talk about, including Reggie Bush is getting his Heisman back. And I don't think that's a good idea. And I'll explain to you why in a little bit. Also, we're going to start tonight with coaches that better win or they're going to get shown the door jackpot. I mean, have you got an idea of a couple of different coaches that you're thinking, man, these guys better get with it or they're going to have to go?
They're going to get asked to leave. Yeah, I got a few of them out there. A few different places.
Also, transfer portal's got 6 days left in it. Deion Sanders, really quick before we get too into this other stuff, Deion Sanders was asked about Colorado's got 15 players that are in the transfer portal. And he looked up at the press. By the way, he was wearing bib overalls, and he had a beard where he looked like Old Man Winter. And he laughed at them and said, what did we lose? And, of course, nobody in that media room had the balls to say anything. Then finally someone stands up and says, well, maybe some starters, some depth. And he goes, y'all got to trust me, etc. With the way the transfer portal is, people are going to come and people are going to go. And you know what? That's the first thing he said since he's been there that made a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe he's starting to finally get it. I don't know. He was looked like Lovie Smith with that beard. I was like, what the hell? Where did this come from? Must still be cold out there.
Well, it's interesting. He comes up with that. And by the way, the Gamecocks lost an offensive lineman to the transfer portal today.
No, they didn't lose shit. They didn't lose shit. He sucked. That guy was terrible.
But he wore a Gamecock uniform last season. Will not wear a Gamecock uniform this season.
He was awful. That's the one they made the meme of. Somebody took a picture of the Snapchat, snapped a picture and sent it to someone off the TV, and he's just like standing in the middle of the field in the North Carolina game like this. And somebody sent a snap and it says, who is bro blocking? Because, I mean, the play was going on and he's just out there. I mean, it's like he's lost. Whoever he was supposed to be blocking is probably sacking your quarterback.
Well, see, that ends up the transfer portal will help South Carolina because they got to get somebody better than that, right? Maybe they'll get somebody that actually hits somebody.
Yeah, maybe they already have. I don't know. I mean, it clears up a roster spot. It doesn't necessarily have to be an offensive lineman. I mean, they got some young talent in there too, and they built some depth last year at that same position. So with some of those guys, so somebody's going to start, somebody's going to be depth, and he's going to be neither one.
Maybe Sean Elliott getting in there and having what they call prayer meetings. Basically, the prayer meeting is you better go pray to God that you can find somebody where else to play because the God that's here says you can't.
Yeah.
Pretty much the way that that's probably happening. But Transfer
I mean,
portal.
who's going to want? I mean, who's going to offer him now? I mean, really. I mean, when they look at, I mean, somebody's definitely going to look at your film from last year and see that week one. Jeez, I
Well,
don't.
but look, I'm not the kid's agent, but I could literally say, look, he was at South Carolina where the offensive line coach was one of the shittiest ever. No one on that line was good. Did you watch the Clemson game where Spencer Rattler pretty much got murdered and they didn't do anything about it? None of them played chippy. They all played like a bunch of bitches. How was he supposed to be developed there? I mean, you could say some stuff like that.
I guess you could. I mean, would he have an agent? Would somebody like that have an agent?
I think everybody's got an agent now, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't think he's garnering. I wouldn't think he's getting any NIL money.
Billy says he was a starter. Well, once again, that could come back to the offensive line coach is a shithead.
He started 4 games.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, maybe there's that too. I don't know. Sometimes the transfer portal giveth. Sometimes it helps. It takes away some silly stuff there. All right, let's get into these coaches on the hot seat jackpot. I mean, we've got 2, in my opinion, in the SEC right now, and one that's on the warmer. My 2 in the SEC are Napier and Pittman. I think that those 2 have to win this year. Are you buying that or selling?
Yeah, I mean, so that's accurate. Shane Beamer better win too after that performance last year. I'm telling you, he bought himself. He could have had a mulligan with a tough schedule this year, but he doesn't have it anymore after that performance. I mean, he had 1 losing season out of 3, so it's not like he's done terrible. But I mean,
Right.
we were kind of we had some upward momentum, and super senior quarterback coming back. Extremely talented individual. Yeah, the season should have been better than what it was, and it was a real disappointment. So I don't know.
He's not on a warmer. He's not on the hot seat, but it's it's uncomfortable.
If he follows out that this year, if they go 5-7 or 6-6, and he's competitive in those games, and it's a tough schedule, he's going to buy himself some more time, and the seat's not going to be too awful hot. Not with the way he's recruiting, but I mean, if he goes 4-8 or 5-7, and in the ones they lose, he gets blown out, and the running back room struggles. Even with the additions, if the offensive line looks like it's made little to no improvement, if the defense regresses back to the early 2023 form, it's definitely gonna fire up for 2025, and they'll want him.
I think that when you really stop and look at it, you've got to if they go 4 wins, I think he may show him the door too. I mean, I think that's just the way that it's going to be. But then it comes down to this too, and we're talking.
If he wins 4 games, he's probably going to lose the fan base.
Well, do you think there's a portion of the fan base that's just not there? I mean, like their apathy, I think, is the word that you could describe with what's going on right now. Is like, all right, we look at this schedule, and the schedule looks tough. And we go into this with, we don't have a whole lot. We lost our best quarterback that's ever stepped foot on campus. Lost our first.
That's debatable, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying he's the best quarterback to play there since what? Steven Garcia? Can we go that far?
You think I think Connor Shaw is better than Steven Garcia.
As far as overall arm talent, everything else is what I'm talking about. But
well,
you have to have that debate. But the point is that he's a hell of a quarterback that you lost, and you lost what's probably going to be a first-round receiver. All of that goes, and now you're looking at it like, man, what do we got? If you're just the person that checks in September or the end of August, you're not going to be on fire about this football team, especially when you look at that schedule.
Yeah, well, it's an SEC schedule. I mean, Florida's got a much tougher road to hoe. They need to cry about it.
Jacob says a good back and forth here in the chat. Jacob says, "Who do you get if you fire Beamer?" And Brock comes back and says, "Perfect answer. Someone better." That's the way that you need to think about it.
I mean,
because this mentality of, oh, no one wants to be here, that's horse shit.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the correct answer there.
They've made stupid hires. They've made 2 dumb hires in a row, and Ray Tanner does it. They make another head football coaching hire. He does not need to be tasked with leading it. He does not need to spearhead any more football hires because obviously he's not very good at it.
Leopold, assume Matthews put that out there before. I still think they should go for Dave Clawson, but he's got, and kicking back to something Deion Sanders said the other day, yeah, you have to recruit the transfer portal. The idea of coming in where you have a 1-11 team and you recruit all these freshmen, it takes 3 years to get them right. Basically, your ass is going to be fired, and he's correct on that. So maybe Clawson's not the guy, but the idea of developing players from high school, I think that's over too. So,
yeah, it's crazy. And here's the thing: do you in order to have a successful, help yourself.
I've only drank one.
Now it's 2.
Okay.
I know. Anyway, still in my beer. What was I going to say? Anymore, I don't know how to phrase this. Do you have to be a good developer of talent, or you have to be a good recruiter of high school talent, or has the criteria for being a quote unquote good coach, has it changed? Because I mean, maybe that's not the skill set you need to be successful anymore.
I think you need you got to have somebody that can do all of that. Let's answer Trey's question here. He goes, what do you think about the Carolina QB? Who should it be, Sellers or Ashford? Ashford has more experience. With Sellers looked okay. Spring games are hard to judge. I'd be stunned if Sellers wasn't the quarterback on August, whatever the hell you guys. Yeah,
Ashford is horrible.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
He can run around. That's all he needs to be brought in for that kind of package. Some kind of wildcat type of deal or something. Maybe he throws the ball to keep somebody honest, and on a type of little trickeration type thing. But I don't trust. He threw a couple of. Well, was it him or was it that? Who threw a couple of interceptions? That was Reno. I think that threw an interception or 2. No, that guy's not good. Not it.
I mean, would you be shocked if it was anybody but Sellers?
Yeah,
I would be too.
Absolutely.
I think what's going to be interesting is who's going to be your running back. I mean, I know that you got Rocket Sanders there, but I mean, is he going to be the guy? I don't know. I think it's going to be like a 3-headed horn at running back.
Well, that's what you need. I mean, you need a couple of that can change the pace up a bit, so somebody's not sitting here getting beat up. And it's not like the day back when you had Marcus Lattimore that you carry 25 times a game because it's just so damn good you didn't want to keep him off or didn't want to take him off the field. You got 3, you got 3 average ass backs. I mean, they can all just split up carries. And still be effective. Maybe they all rush for 500 yards.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a 1,000-yard back, I think, is kind of, it's kind of flat now. I mean, you rather have.
I'd like to see it though. I'd like to see one again. It's been forever since we've had one.
If you could have 1,000-yard back or 2 700-yard backs, you'd take the latter, right?
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, math tells you that. That's more yards.
Exactly.
I don't know who the last. I guess it was Mike Davis. I guess was the last 1,000-yard.
No, that's a good question. The last 1,000-yard back.
I'm pretty sure.
It had to be somebody other than that. Now I got a Gamecock.
There haven't been anybody since Mike Davis. No, I haven't think they've had. Oh, Kevin Harris. Duh.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Kevin Harris had led the conference in rushing, jackpot.
Yeah, I forgot all about him.
Yeah, behind a shit offensive line, and Mike Bobo making the calls. So
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, those are the two coaches in the SEC that I think are on the hot seat. Some other coaches that maybe
I don't know about. I don't know about old Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. How long are they? I mean, 2-10. They go 2-10 again. I mean, yeah.
What do you expect at Vanderbilt, though, Jackpot? I mean, they're more worried about their SAT scores than football games.
Well, I mean, you still got to be.
Didn't they have their scoreboard literally on a crane last year? I mean,
well, I mean, yes. I mean, the stadium's like 100 years old, and they're renovating it. You've got. Have you ever been to their stadium before?
No.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's like I don't know.
For $5, right? I mean, it's kind of a shithole, isn't it?
What's that?
I mean, seriously, if you wait till the start of the game, you probably get a ticket for $5 and sit on the.
It's old, man. I mean, it reminded me of East Carolina Stadium before they put the upper deck on it and kind of made it a little bit nicer. I mean, it kind of looks out of place there in downtown Nashville with all those other new digs and everything going on. It's kind of a dinosaur, but I guess they're trying to renovate and make it look a little better.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what's going to happen.
You got the basketball arena is like right there. I mean, it literally butts up to the grandstand that was on the other side there, closer to to the I don't know how to explain it. I'm not on the press box side; it's on the other side, and that's an interesting looking place too. If you've seen that place, everybody's seen that place on TV, and it's just an odd looking venue. And I actually went in there because it was open, and I went in there and peed at the restroom, and so I got to actually take a peek inside the arena. It was empty in there, and it is very strange. Indeed.
Yeah, I Vanderbilt has SEC money, so
the Memorial Gym or something they call it.
Yeah, it's like it's on a stage, isn't it?
It's on. Yeah, the court is elevated, so you don't want to take a spill off of that damn thing.
Yeah, that would be my luck. Anyway, other coaches, Jackpot, would you think about Dave Aranda at Baylor? Is he maybe the fan base is falling off a little bit with him? What do you think?
The guy at Baylor, yeah, they had a pretty rough season last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they weren't really great.
Yeah, I think he probably gets a little bit more time because they did really well the year before that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else out there? I'm thinking, thinking other schools out there. I'm thinking like ACC. I
wonder if Mario Cristobal is kind of, maybe the seat's not hot down there, but he's looking around thinking, man, I thought I was coming back here and we were going to be outstanding, and they're not so much.
Yeah, they need to start winning games. He's a good recruiter. They using the transfer portal good, but they're not showing up on Saturdays. They're not. I mean, they beat Texas A&M last year, kind of blew them out at home, and you thought, wow, they beat Clemson, but then, they lose to the Seminoles again. Yeah, they dropped that game to Georgia Tech. They lost to somebody else silly, and then was it Virginia or somebody maybe, and then they turn around and Rutgers just absolutely just obliterates them in the bowl game.
Yeah.
So they're and they're not afraid to change coaches. They've gone through a ton of coaches there. Old Lou talks about how Tennessee was going through coach after coach after coach, like the every 3 year rinse and repeat cycle there for a while. They do the same thing. I mean, they went from what you went from Randy Shannon to Al Golden, then to Mark Rick, now then Manny Diaz, and now we're on Mario Cristobal's. And it's like 5 or 6 guys in like a 15-year period. It's not good.
Jerry says firing the coach is not always the answer. No, but I think that there comes a point where you can you have to just say, look, this isn't working. We know what we have here. There really isn't any sign of hope here.
Yeah, it's not always the answer, but I mean that's who ultimately that's who
That's right,
is
Jack.
held accountable.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the way that it works, but I mean it's stupid at this point. All right, so the link is there if you'd like to join us on the show this evening.
Who in the ACC? I'm thinking ACC. Is Tony Elliott safe right now? I mean,
I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to think that Tony Elliott's going to go somewhere when the guy's dealing with the whole shooting thing and all that. And I think that's kind of hard to push on somebody. But who knows, man?
They might have a chance. They might be better than people think next year. They made a decent showing of themselves last year. In some games where they weren't expected to, and they got a pretty good young quarterback. They had kind of the Calandria kid. He's not bad. So if they could get some pieces there, maybe. I mean, they're not going to be world beaters or nothing. Maybe they can win 5 games. What about your boy Narduzzi at Pitt? He kind of had a bad year last year.
I don't think I think that would they win 7 games last year? Something like that. I can't remember.
They won like 5. They didn't make a bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. But Narduzzi's kind of stuck there, man. I mean, he's not going anywhere. I don't.
Is he kind of like Mark Stoops? Maybe just get them to about a certain level, and you're not going to get any better. And this is just where we're at.
In jackpot. If North Carolina shits the bed this year, Mac Brown may go into retirement.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about him too on that list. They really have underachieved the past couple of years. Yeah, people were talking about them as a dark horse for the playoffs last year.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, they were, and I mean, then after the opening game, I mean, looked pretty good, and people were like, "Wow, they actually got a defense." North Carolina plays defense. Who would have known? Nah, it wasn't North Carolina had a defense. It was South Carolina had nobody to block them.
Yeah.
So that was the case of the Gamecocks, making them look better than they were. North Carolina, they got shit against Clemson. Like shit. Lost to Virginia. Lost to Georgia Tech too, I think. Yeah, so
they do suck. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's one way to go there. But as far as in the ACC, I could see that. I'm trying to think. Syracuse has a new coach.
Boston College got Bill O'Brien.
Boston College has a new coach, and Bill O'Brien.
Strange, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
was the guy? You remember the guy? There was a guy, Tom O'Brien, who coached there, and he coached at Penn State. Not Penn State. He coached at NC State.
And he also coached the Giants too in the NFL, didn't he?
Well, is Bill O'Brien any kin to Tom O'Brien? Was that his dad?
I mean, they're all sound Irish. They all probably get together and drink, right?
They probably do. I'm wondering if they were kin to each other.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Anyway. Yeah, I can't think of any other in the ACC that is right there.
Billy mentioned James Franklin.
Yeah, well, that's a name to think about. I mean,
because they do need to. This year I think they either play Ohio State or Michigan. I'm not sure. They play one, but not the other. and then I think they play Oregon. So their schedule, it's really not any easier.
Right.
But yeah, they're going to have to elevate their game. They need to finish with like a 1-loss season or something, and to I think to restore the faith in him, because they're another one that's gotten to a ceiling, and he seems to have reached it. And I don't think they want that. They want to be in the playoffs. They should be really.
Got another team jackpot. I know he's only been there for a little bit, but this guy's banking on what Marcus Satterfield is his offensive coordinator. He's been talking about, Satterfield's going to be, he's going to get the offense right. Okay, man. I think that
Shut up.
Nebraska may go to the shitter again, and if that happens, maybe they look for somebody else. I think it's a really short leash there time, but this guy came out on the record and was talking about how confident he was with Marcus Satterfield. Marcus Satterfield is a douche.
He's probably finding that out, and the Nebraska fans were, they were all over Twitter last year. They're like, "What the fuck?" I mean, this guy couldn't win in the SEC, so I mean, what makes them think he was going to come here and win? They weren't happy with him.
The best thing for the Gamecocks last year on Twitter was they got to laugh at Marcus Satterfield.
Yeah, what was that kid's name? Jeff Sims.
Yeah, Jeff Sims, and
he regressed. Terrible.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Matt says, I'm not sure Satterfield is calling plays this year, Rob, from what I heard. Well, I read something about Matt Rule was confident in him. You should be confident in his ability to pack his desk up and get the fuck out of there. So,
yeah.
That?
I'm looking at this AEW Dynamite show on TV right now, and Chris Jericho is out there cutting a promo. Dude, he looks like he's like a couple of steps away from the nurse. This guy, he's old. I mean, he's got to be, 55?
Yeah.
Or damn near it? Good gracious.
Show Me Mo says, Carolina jackpot. Beamer's going to flip out when Carolina comes back to Como with the north end zone construction. Should be done in 2026. Yeah, Shane Beamer may not be coaching there then, but we'll see.
They will. Yeah, it'll be.
Well, Shane Beamer.
The way the schedule's working out, I guess they'll play next year in Como, and then we won't play for 2 years. 26 and 27. I guess we'll play the other 7 teams, right?
The way the schedule's set up, it's. I wish I could speak on it in an intelligent manner, but I can't. They screwed everything.
There's 16 teams in the league.
Sure.
16 teams, so divided in half is 8. But you play 8. You play 8 games. I'm thinking, how does the math work on that? I don't know. I feel like it. Yeah, you play 8 league games, so you're going to play half the conference every 2 years. So in 2026, the schedule, theoretically, I guess if they keep it like this, we'll flip around and we'll be playing the Georgias, the Florida, the Tennessee, the Mississippi State, both those schools, or Mississippi State, Arkansas, and those folks, Texas. Jeez. Texas and Georgia. Oh.
I don't know, buddy. That's
Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee. That's going to be brutal. Good Lord.
Brutal, sir. Brutal. So I step back though, and it's I look at it and it's like, I don't know. We shall see. Billy wants to know what's the prediction on Spencer Rattler in the draft tomorrow night. I mean, I think he goes in the 2nd round, maybe. What do you think, Jackpot?
That's what I've been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been.
We'll see how that goes tomorrow night. I think that Wiggins will get drafted from Clemson in the 1st round, and I think Leggett may maneuver into the 1st round too. If not, Leggett will be in the second round, early second round pick.
Yeah, he's I don't know why you wouldn't want Xavier Leggett on your team. The Papa B, was that Papa B in the comments? Yeah, somebody said AEW bankruptcy any day now. That's very interesting. I mean, it could very well be. They got to be shelling out a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Khan's got like all kinds of crazy money going into that thing.
Yeah, he had some kind of media scrum or something. I was watching or listening to part of it on Conan's podcast on one of the YouTube clips they put out, and Khan was saying something like, "Yeah, I think that we're still in talks with Time Warner about extending the contract because somebody had asked him about moving his stuff strictly to streaming." And he said, "I think we're in." So they stopped the clip right there, and he's like, "Wait a minute, bro." He's like, "You think?" He's like, "You think you're in negotiations?" So yeah, I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing.
Either you're in negotiations or you're not. This is not rocket science, sir.
No.
What a mess. By the way, in the NBA tonight, I know we don't have a lot of NBA folks, but the Boston Celtics were a 14-point favorite tonight, and they're about to lose to Miami without Jimmy Butler. What a shit show. That is insane to me when you step back and look at it, but I don't know. All right, let's talk about Reggie Bush. Apparently, he's getting his Heisman Trophy back, Jackpot.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, hey, this is a great story. To me, I think when you have a revisionist history where it's like, look, these things now they're okay, I think that just opens up a can of worms that there's just not – I don't think a lot of people are going to want to – are we just going to just bring things back because – those things are good now. I did
a video on this today. I'm understanding with you. So what are we going to do for those teams out there that vacated wins and got probation for doing pay for play? Are we gonna turn around and give them their wins back and renege the probation? I mean, what? How about this? How about any football, baseball, basketball game? The past, take it back before instant replay. Let's go back and review all those games that had close endings in the day. Let's see if we can change the outcome on some games. It's what it is. This is like me. Okay, for years the speed limit on the interstate highways in South Carolina was 55 miles per hour. So I guarantee you there were a ton of people out there who got speeding tickets for doing 65 and a 55. So when they raised the speed limit to 65, now why shouldn't those people have gotten the chance to go back to court to get those tickets expunged and get that money back that they paid?
Well, how about this, Jackpot? Why don't we have the revisionist history of, look, there were a lot of teams that won national titles that didn't have black players on their team. Why don't we go back to that? I mean, seriously, we're opening up a can of worms here.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, that was the rule. And to me, I don't know. I don't think that it's totally fair to penalize one individual for the shit that the entire football program was doing. But I mean, that was the punishment then. So
yeah, I think when you stop and look at that, and if it goes across all sports, I mean, and I use the racial thing there because that's something that's there, but you also could have, I mean, there's just so many things that we can go back that, okay, it's cool now, but it wasn't then. I mean, that was the rules then, and he wasn't playing by the rules. And I know it sucks, and I know everybody's doing it, but in the end, that doesn't make it right. In the way the rules are, he didn't do right. So, not that Reggie Bush wasn't the most dynamic player. I'm not buying that. I'm just saying that when it comes down to it, when we start revising things, it's going to end up biting people in the face.
Yeah, he was, and look, he was exposed. Look, at the end of the day, he knows he won it on the field.
Right, and the fan base knows it too.
They just, I mean, I guess he's not. He can't be part of, the Heisman house or whatever. He can't be in New York, or he couldn't be. I guess he can be now.
Mm-hmm. So I think the revising part. I'm trying to see the. Let's see here. Heisman.
Yeah, Show Me Mo says Johnny Manziel was the one pushing. Yeah, he's a clown.
Yeah, he is.
That guy.
What a mess. I'm trying to see here. I'm trying to see who is the. I'm trying to see the. I'm trying to see who all was in that class with him.
Vince Young, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see here.
Yeah, because Vince Young beat him in the national championship.
That's right. But I was looking. This is from the Heisman.com website. 2005, he ran for 1,600 yards, had 31 receptions for 383 yards, and also a punt return score. So, I mean, this guy was insane.
Yeah, I remember anytime that he was back to return a punch, you better have the TV on because there's like a 50% chance he was taking it to the house.
Yeah. He was definitely one of those guys, but I don't think that going back is a good thing. All right, if you want to join us on the show for that, I want to put the link over here. Do you think that it was a good idea to give him back his Heisman? Big Barney Ross is correct. Let people out of jail that stole VCRs. Very good, sir. Very good.
Fireball says, "How did Pete Rose get caught in the first place?" That's I don't believe I remember. Do you, Rob?
Something with a phone in
with a bookie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was with a bookie, but I mean, they found out that he made calls from the clubhouse and to this bookie. Is basically what it went, through.
Yeah.
But,
well, what about the idiot that played basketball at Mizzou, that played for the Raptors, that got banned from life?
Yeah, he did get banned for life because apparently what he was doing was he was telling people, hey, take the under on whatever it is that is happening with me tonight. He'd go out and play 2 minutes and then tell somebody he was hurt. And then,
what an idiot.
I didn't get my 7 points. Ta-da! Now you win.
Yeah, now that the way they explained it on the Mazad cast, because he's a Mizzou. He was from Mizzou.
Yeah.
And the way they explained it, I guess he told a lot of people to wager on this. Well, dumbass, I mean, they monitor like strange activity. It's not like people taking the over on the 49ers Chiefs game.
Well, and it was
probably nobody hardly knows who this fucker is.
Yeah, that was the thing. There's an $80,000 bet on the under for this guy. So DraftKings is like, fuck you, I'm not paying it. And they didn't. Tiger in the Burrows says, good evening, going through some major life events right now. Glad to listen to you guys and take my mind. Well, there you go. We bring the happy jackpot. My wife's bringing the happy.
I'm glad we can, and I hope things work out for you. I appreciate
it. Chris says, if they legalize weed, do you think people who got life in prison for draconian drug laws, should they not be allowed to appeal to be let out? I mean, I don't want to have that debate with anyone. I've always been a person that the only reason that marijuana is not legal is because the government is too stupid to figure out how to tax it, and the fact that you can grow it in your closet. So that's the entire reason behind it. They rallied pastors and everything, like, if you smoke the hippie lettuce, you're gonna die. Any pastor that said that should be dipped in lard and fried like a corn dog. That's how stupid that is. But
dipped in lard and fried like a corn dog.
Because they're trying to push something on people that is just stupid. Now, if we want to talk about cocaine and everything else, fine. I get all that, but people that are on pot, man, they just smoke and they want to eat corn dogs and go to sleep. They don't want to fuck with anybody. I don't think I've ever met a violent pothead.
Not me. No, I haven't.
No, they just want to get fat and fuck around. I mean, it's just stupid. But anyway, that's the main thing with all that.
Seeing over in the comment section about there's a former South Carolina, one of our former players, is the NXT champion.
Yeah, he was. He's God, I can't remember his name, but
his last name Belton. I remember him.
He played football for the Gamecocks, and now
he's last name Belton, Matrix Belton.
Look him up really quick here, Matrix Belton.
And who do you play for? Must Bus.
Let's see here. He's 29, and his name is Trick Williams in NXT. And it's funny because they do the whoop that trick song when he comes out, and the fucking crowd loves him. But let's see here. Matrix Belton went to Keenan High School, which is right here in Columbia, 6'3", 215 pounds, and played up until 2016. So I think that makes him a
Muschamp.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been Spurrier and Muschamp. That's interesting.
Played in every game in 2015, making 5 starts, hauled in 11 passes for 121 yards, 11 yards a catch, led the team with 4 receptions for 18 yards, including 14-yard catch against Georgia. Made his first start at Mizzou in 2015 where he had 1 catch for 10 yards. So, I mean, he was an average wide receiver, I guess, but he's a hell of a
I can't remember him playing that much. I blocked out a lot of that season. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's that.
Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown.
Matrix Belton. Touchdown,
Matrix Belton.
Touchdown. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick, which is his theme song.
Boom.
Boom that trick. Fucking Todd Ellis. Fuck that guy.
No, come on now.
Oh, come on now. I can't deal with Todd Ellis. That's one of the things. Ugh. All right. If you want to join the show, have at it. We'd love to have you this evening. As I've watched the Braves give up 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning. They're now tied with the Marlins. They are in the bottom of the 9th inning. Nobody out, but they do have 2 on.
That's crazy. Did you see that the Taters lost at Georgia yesterday in kind of controversial fashion?
So a big-time Georgia fan texted me that I won't put his name out there, but this Georgia fan texted me today with, you seen any good college football lately or good college baseball lately? And I said, the Georgia game pissed me off, to which he replied, fuck your clown team, to which I replied, you dumb fucks can't tell left from right, and you fucked up the last election. You are an aborted fetus. He wrote back to me, fair enough. Haven't heard from him since. Apparently he caught me at one of that time in the morning where I hadn't had my coffee yet, and I was pretty vile. I called him an aborted fetus, but there was a brutal call in that game where a guy hit a home run, and they called it a foul ball. The game goes to 15 innings, and for some reason at Foley Field, we can't win extra inning games. Clemson drops the game to Georgia yesterday, so there's that.
That's crazy.
Look at this guy that's joining us. Mr. Rob has an SEC bias. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Nice to see that you have power and
yeah.
I'm actually on the laptop, so we don't have to worry about the phone bill this week. You know they just stack up on me, but
what you got for the show tonight, man? Where you been?
I haven't really been able to check in on the live streams. I've been a VOD man for the past couple weeks, but
what, man?
Like the video recording. Like I've just been watching the replays. Yeah.
You haven't been here for the live stuff, but you've been watching the show. Got it.
Exactly right. Yeah. But what I wanted to talk about, I know you've touched on it a little bit already, probably a lot, but I was at the spring game, so I kind of wanted to give my take on it all. I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about how good Dylan Stewart looked. I went back. Just about every play he was on the field, he just looked like a freaking grown man already. So I really think he can step in and make an immediate impact on that defense. Did y'all kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, he looked good, especially for, someone making his first, not start, but making his first action, and a guy that's really supposed to still be in high school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly what I was. Exactly right.
First play of the game, that Brian Thomas, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon.
It was really a defensive game.
He was coming off that edge. I mean, he got called for being offsides, but I'm like, damn. I'm like, I hadn't seen one of our players moving like that in fucking years.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest positive I took from the game was just our defense was flying up and down the field on both sides, really. But I had some concern. Robbie Ashford, man, that dude was an absolute letdown, in my opinion. If Lenoris goes down, God forbid us, our offense, what it's going to look like, man. He was missing 5-yard crossing routes. I was watching them in warm-ups. They were just doing just a little, 10-yard streak warm-up. This guy was overthrowing his receivers by 5 yards in warm-ups. So
maybe somebody needs to have a conversation with him about, hey, we need some wide receivers, sir.
Maybe Doty could get him in the room. And I like what I saw for Mazio. He just looked a little small on the field.
Well, I think that Doty probably would be a more serviceable quarterback backup than him.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I think Doty's still got a little bit left in the tank, too, at QB. Well, I think he's got some unfinished business.
I don't know, man. I'm at that point where it's like it's a spring game. It's kind of hard to judge on all that stuff, but
I agree. Well, and that was another thing that I don't really like about the South Carolina spring game format is instead of having, true ones versus true twos, they did the draft system. So you really don't know what your actual game unit's going to look like or how well they're going to mesh, especially from that game.
In theory, though, if your ones are out there, you expect them to beat the shit out of your twos. So your twos are going to go out there and look like garbage against the ones. You're going to kill their confidence. Maybe that's the whole thing.
Well, I was thinking more so like number one offense versus number one defense, so on and so forth. When the twos come in, number two defense, number two offense. That's kind of what I'm used to for spring games. But I feel like with the draft system, it's really hard to judge people outside of just looking at individual performances. Like I don't feel like I can judge what the O-line did because that's not going to be the line we're going to see on week one, obviously. So I kind of would have liked to see maybe some ones run together, but I trust Beamer. Have you been seeing the recruiting trail he's on right now? The dude's on fire right now.
Yeah, he stuffed Josh Heupel in a locker over the weekend on that kid from Virginia.
Yeah, you're talking about the cornerback, Shamari Ellis?
Yeah.
Yeah, and did you see I tuned in a little late, so y'all might have already mentioned it. Did you see that linebacker commit we got today?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, he I don't know if we'll be able to lock him down.
I was getting a little nervous about this 2025 class.
I was too. I was sitting at the spring game, but then I started to look. It's actually starting to develop out pretty decently.
They went from being ranked like 50th to being 27th overall night.
Yeah. Well, Rob, have you talked about that gentleman who's transferring out of the program, Owens? Yeah.
Up at Clemson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one Jackpot posted on Facebook, they didn't need him. I don't know we don't know everything that's going on there, so it's kind of hard to. I think we're at a juncture now where if you get your feelings hurt at all, these kids may just go.
Yeah, you're probably right. The only reason I was keeping up with it is because I saw some posts mentioning he could be interested in coming to South Carolina. I didn't know if maybe there was some reason he left, or because forgive me if I'm wrong, but was he not projected to get some playing time this year? Didn't he start a couple games last year?
I think so, but I don't know. It's you don't, and I'm saying this for any player. You don't know what the hell happens. Shit could
Unless
happen.
you're TJ Dudley.
Yeah.
We know too much about that situation.
Yeah,
but the transfer portal is weird. I have seen those some big names linked to South Carolina. I saw Cormani McLean. I don't know how likely that is to happen, but I think if anybody can get him into shape, it's maybe Torian Gray. He probably holds a lot of respect around the country as far as defensive back coaches go. So maybe it could be a good fit, but I don't really like how he left Colorado. But it's just a mess. Do y'all remember Malachi Nelson back in the day? He was the guy over at Southern California before Caleb Young transferred in. He's like a number one player overall. This dude's at Boise State now. I just saw a post about it. Can y'all believe that?
Yeah, I mean, you got an opportunity to go play. I mean,
it's just the amount of moving that is going on nowadays. I want I want to know the percentage of people who actually stay out throughout their entire commitment. It's got to be less than 50% now of a class.
Well, it's going down every year.
There's 750 players in the transfer portal as of this morning. So, and there's 6 days left.
Yeah, what do these people do when they don't get picked up?
They're not going to get picked up by anybody.
Yeah, what do these people do?
Boom.
I don't know.
Like, do they just go back home? Like, I guess I'm not a football player anymore. Like,
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't
give
know.
you that option where you can enter the portal and still return. That's the other thing too. Like you could say, hey, I'm going to the transfer portal. I'm going to try to transfer out now. Hopefully these kids are smart and they keep their academics right where they can actually stay. But
that's not often the case, though.
That's not often the case at all. But the reality is that what Matthew says, you're going to end up going to, East Aboga Community College.
You're going back to Last Chance U.
Yeah, you're going to try to have to be a bounce back like some of the kids from Last Chance U. That's
playing for the
that's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is sad for those players because the majority of them are leaving a scholarship behind, like already. Like even if you're just not playing, you're going from being on scholarship and not playing to, trying out for a spot at Presbyterian. Like I don't know what the advice that some of these people get. You know what I mean? But
well, Billy's right. You think if a kid had the transfer portal on Dabo, he'd let him come back? No. Dabo doesn't like it if you're being recruited there if you take another visit. So the idea of I'm sure with Speedy, you hit the transfer portal, pack your shit. You don't even get to finish class, motherfucker. Get out of here. I'm pretty sure
that's kind of a little Pecker syndrome there. Well, he let the guy take a visit.
On that, but,
well, he let Lynn J. Dixon, when he transferred, he was on campus the rest of the year. I do know that.
I'm just saying that, I doubt you get to come and eat with the team, et cetera.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, they'll take your electric scooter away.
Yeah, all that shit.
Perks.
I don't. And we're at a point now where the other thing too is that yes, all these players transferring in are great, but there's of the 750 that are in the transfer portal now. How many of them do you think are plug and play starters?
Exactly right.
I do think the Gamecocks got one of them with Rocket Sanders because if he's healthy, the guy's been an all SEC running back before. So as long as your coaching staff doesn't fuck him up, whereas Sean Elliott's a hell of a run game coordinator, he should be put into a position where he can have those kind of numbers again, in theory. So, but as far as just plug and play guys, you just don't see it where they go in and they're lights out. I mean, You don't end up with like the running back like Schrader at Mizzou. You don't end up with those guys a lot, you know.
I agree with you.
Well, even that wasn't a plug and play type person. He was. He's an outlier.
Yeah, that was kind of scheme, anyways. I think we'll see this year, but I think anybody in that role is going to put up some freakish numbers. But that's just a theory I've had.
Well, and that's something else tonight. We could put that out there. If one of your players decides, "Hey, I want to go to the transfer portal," do you want him back? You know.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about Gilbert Edmond coming back. But I mean, we just need to solidify that defensive line. They were just getting pushed off the line, so I made an exception. But if someone like Juice Wells wanted to come back, dude, I mean, just kick the fucking can, man. Go to Clemson. We don't want him. You know what I mean? Somebody like that, they can't come back. But if it's I think if it's an amicable, transfer, like how the Edmond one was, he didn't besmirch the university.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he praised Beamer on the way out, which is kind of weird. But a player like that, I don't see a problem with coming back, especially if they fill a team need. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, Rob, well, say y'all got this highly 4-star, transfers out his freshman year, goes and gets playing time somewhere like East Carolina or something. You don't think you'd take him back at Clemson if he became a star like at East Carolina, then wanted to come back?
Clemson's a different animal. And what I mean by that is Sweeney's not using the transfer portal anyway. So if somebody goes and leaves and then, well, hell, he's already done that. He fucking took Hunter Johnson, left the program, went to Northwestern, and then he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he left again, didn't he? Or no, that was Helms.
He graduated, but I'm just saying.
I'm thinking of the other guy.
They're Sweeney with the transfer portal. We'll let this kid transfer out, which, by the way, he said Hunter Johnson could be an NFL quarterback. Those words came out of his mouth.
What roster is he on currently?
He goes to Northwestern and battles Ryan Helinski for the job up there, loses that job, and then comes back. And Sweeney, I think, brought him back so he could be like, yeah, we've used the transfer portal. Go fuck yourself. Pretty much what that was, because he's the first one to come back out of the portal.
I think you're right. It has
exactly right. So it's a different animal with Clemson, but I don't know, man. I wish these kids would stay put, but you know what? I'm not a life altering athlete where the fortunes of your university could change if I go there. So I don't have that kind of talent, etc. But I just think when it comes back down to it, in the end, 10 years from now, they're going to be like, hey, I went to 3 different schools, and they're not going to be loved by any of those alumni. They're not going to be able to walk in and get a job with some of these people that, down the road. I mean, that's real, but I don't know.
I agree. Well, and I've said this for years now. I wholeheartedly believe the only way to fix this is if a player wants to transfer out, he owes the university every single dime of scholarship money they gave him to be there. That's the only way you're going to be able to fix this system. I get it. It's not good for players who maybe want to transfer out and they're not highly recruited. They won't get the NIL money. But those players shouldn't be transferring out anyways. You know what I mean?
Well, I do think that the only way that the one part of the transfer portal that I like is because if I'm being recruited by a coach and I go there because of that coach and I built a rapport with that coach and something has happened, either the team shits the bed or the coach gets a better job or whatever, that kid should be allowed to go somewhere else. I think commit.
There can be exceptions, but
that's fair. Yeah. But then you'll have shitheads like Alabama, like their fan base and their lawyers and all that will be like, well, the exception should be for everyone and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, you can't use common sense anymore. So,
yeah, it's it's turning into a culture where somehow these people are getting paid thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to come to university to play football, and somehow they're the victim in this whole process. It's baffling. It makes no sense to me. But that's the state of college football nowadays. Could you imagine somebody like Shannon Sharp or Ray Lewis bitching about playing time or bitching about NIL, wanting to hit the transfer portal. I mean, Lawrence Taylor. Where's that mentality in today's game?
Well, but you've also seen other players where they've moved on to a different spot, and what's the wrestling quote, jackpot? They learn a new hold, right?
Yeah,
and they get so there's that.
I think that's more of the exception though of all the transfers we see. I mean, if you think back, you can pick out good transfers. But if you look at the classes they came from, they're coming in with 15 guys whose name you're not going to hear all season long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. There are some who come in and improve, but I think the likelihood of improvement of staying with the same program, with the same scheme, 3 years is going to be a lot more likely than, going out, learning a new scheme, completely new team, completely new coaches. So I get what you're saying, but it's just a broken system. What am I going to do about it anyways, other than complain?
All right, man.
No.
It's good that you're not dead. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Please keep in contact with the show, and we got to move on. Billy wants to get in here, right?
Y'all take care. Go Cox, baby.
Go Cox.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Welcome to the programs.
The transfer portal, there's more ramifications than just that. I mean, if you leave, let's say South Carolina Beamer's recruiting a kid, then a transfer portal comes in and a high school kid. See, they're the ones getting the brunt of this. A high school kid wants to come in, and a transfer portal guy comes in and takes that spot. That kid's going someplace else, a high school kid.
Right. Well,
they're the ones keep it. And now let's go to that. The player, the transfer portal comes in and he leaves, and you want to come back? Oh, hell no. You ain't coming back. No.
Well,
no.
But you
cost me players.
Let's say that freshman comes in, and they're all man children, but
all right.
You get on that college weight program and you get the top level nutrition and everything else. Of course, your body's going to mature, Yeah. So,
but the high school kids are the ones they're getting pushed back out of all this,
right?
It just and as for the Heisman, Reggie Bush, no, you don't get it back. There's more depth to this than meets the eye. If you remember, Pete Carroll left about the time the NCAA started coming down there investigating. He went to his dream job in Seattle, so he says, and they couldn't get a coach. They couldn't find a coach, but they did find a coach. They found his offensive coordinator that would take the job that just so happened to be Reggie Bush's recruiter. So guess who that guy was? The only guy that would take that job. He left Tennessee for the job, Lane Kiffin. And his parents lived in like a slum house, and next he's living in an LA condominium. Get out of here. No, he don't get it back. No. Just no, the depth of it. I mean, the NCAA didn't take his Heisman. The Heisman committee took it. Those people took it.
Well, but a part of the Heisman thing says you have to be in good standings with the NCAA, which it's funny that Manziel's the one running his mouth, but he gets to keep his Heisman trophy, and they've made movies about how much of a fucko he was. This guy's outside of the NCAA rules all over the place. So if he gets, and he kept his, and you wonder why. How does that happen? But
well, the gravity of it, this was
right.
This is like I say, Pete Carroll left town running.
Well, there was no dirty doings at Texas A&M though.
Yeah, I mean, Manziel's parents wasn't living in a LA condominium and getting thousands of dollars and stuff. So,
well, but
if the rule was there when they got it, I'm with you. And he broke the rule, he don't get it. You broke the rule, just like Jackpot's video today. He broke the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's changed, so I mean, you can't go back and I mean, you're not going to go back and change other things.
You'd have to start searching. Oh, it just opening. What is it? The proverbial door, if you will. And now we'll start looking for. As for Pete Rose, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose. Think about this.
Maybe, yeah.
Big Barney Ross says, "Does Jeremy Pruitt get his McDonald's back now?" Very good, sir. Does Tennessee not have? Tennessee shouldn't have that fine. Oh my God!
And just think, if they go back and give vacated wins back, well, we get 2 L's from South Carolina that we lost to them.
Big Barney Ross is my favorite fucking commenter with that shit. That's funny as fuck right there.
And it wasn't McDonald's.
Whatever.
It wasn't McDonald's.
Look, and
if you're gonna joke, make sure you get the bag right.
I thought that Pruitt was going to be great, and he made me look like a dickhead. But didn't that motherfucker have issues with asparagus? And his wife was throwing around money like she was a road whore.
She was involved into it.
Yeah.
But you know, we're going back. The opening game that year when they played Georgia State and they lost to Georgia State, who finished last in Division II, their conference. If I was Phil Fulmer, I'd been down there at halftime. Give me a clipboard. You're gone. You had 9 months to prepare for this game, and it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. They were getting pushed all over the field. You're gone. Well, he would have been fired then.
Who was coaching that Georgia State team? Just saying.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy Pruitt. Yeah, he'd have been fired.
No, I'm talking about coaching the Georgia State team. You know who that was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they finished last in their conference the previous year. And you had 9 months to prepare for this team?
I mean,
no.
Man, don't get
no.
upset.
You're fired. You're fired. Go to the house.
Y'all were used to losing anyway. What the fuck,
but they did it right. They nailed him with an infraction so he wouldn't get paid. You don't think he wasn't set up?
I think he went out the next week and lost to BYU in that.
Yes, he did.
Which was that's not as embarrassing, I guess, as losing to Georgia Southern or Georgia
Papa
State.
B's right. Georgia State smash mouth them. Georgia State came into Neyland Stadium and literally ran them off the field.
Yeah, they ran up and down the fucking field.
Yeah.
That's what they did. So.
Yep. So, but.
They should have done. You just take off that fucking Tennessee polo and walk to your car. We'll pack your box. You don't get to go back into your office. Get the fuck out of here. That's what should happen. You should be able to do coaches like that. When you have a loss that's like that, where you go out and, you lose to a Georgia State or Vanderbilt beats you on homecoming or some shit and you're tired of this motherfucker, get the hell out of here. I nominate Jackpot to be the Grim Reaper for South Carolina. When some shit like that happens, like if Shane Beamer goes out this year and they drop that game to Old Dominion, Jackpot should get to walk on the field as the time is expiring and tell Beamer, listen, cocksucker, lose the game, cock shit, and get the fuck out of here.
Tanner should be down there before the last second ticks off. Give me a clipboard.
God damn it, Tanner needs to delegate and give this job to Jackpot. You don't think Jackpot would love to walk down there and be like, get your fucking ass out of here? Jackpot would love that.
You've cried at your last, because I don't want to see you cry at the press conference.
Yeah, we don't get to see you cry anymore, dickhead. Get out.
Yeah. Well, see that Georgia State game.
He got rather feisty during the spring game when they fucked up that field goal. Rob, did you see that?
He got upset with his coaches.
He
tried to pull a Nick Saban and
no, he's yelling,
please.
Defense, wake up,
please,
dude. Yeah, get out of here. And then ours got it right, and then JP can fire Tanner too. Yeah, let Jackpot just run around there. We'll get him. We'll get him a fucking 9-foot long dick that he could just get out and just bash people with it. Get out of here, motherfuckers. Y'all aren't worth wearing the damn that garnet C on your helmet. Get the hell out of here.
As long as Don Staley's there winning basketball games, Tanner's not going anywhere.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean,
he ain't going anywhere.
Well, hell, he didn't hire her.
Yeah.
So
Well, look, Dawn Staley's on her own planet, but I think that I think she could. I don't think she knows as much about football, etc. But I think she could motivate that team to be better than what they are.
I believe she could
She
snatch
got
a
no
knot in
problem.
her.
Sit your cunt ass on the bench. You got a problem doing that.
Speaking of basketball, women's, how did Cardoza and Reese from LSU get on the same WNBA team? Is that not amazing?
That is amazing, but you know, I wonder if Cardozo had words with her like, "Hey, your coach said that I should come at you with that." Now
that's
what?
gonna be a lot of egos.
Yeah, I think so.
I seen that LSU South Carolina game when fans were coming out of the state swinging and hitting and slobber knocking and everything. I don't want to ever want to hear about a mustard
That was
bottle.
that girl's. That was that.
I don't ever want to hear about a mustard bottle being thrown on the field.
I know that's both respectfully, sir. That was a conference championship game. That had nothing. That wasn't at Williams-Brice Stadium. So let's not get crazy here.
That was the girl's brother.
Yeah, that's the girl's brother that jumped out.
There was but Cardoza is saved their undefeated season. Jackpot knows this. He saved their undefeated season. She did.
Cardozo
hadn't hit a three all year, and Tennessee's up by 1 or 2 at the end of the game, and they didn't guard her.
Well, she's the one that got your coach fired, because I think if Tennessee wins that game, you keep that coach.
Oh yeah, that was a mistake.
That shot.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
So
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. She's won 20 games every year she's been there, but because she ain't in the Final Four, we're gonna fire.
She's not Pat Summitt. That's why she's not.
And there you go,
Summit, and they're not going to get it. Pat Summitt's dead.
Here in town, we've got a famous Clemson, All-American, all Clemson, all ACC basketball player, Amy McGowan. She lives right here in town. In fact, I eat her mother-in-law's restaurant all the time. She played at Clemson several years ago. Great basketball player. Great basketball. Well, anyway, I'll get off here. Just call to chime in and everything. So y'all take care. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, Billy. Thank you. It's nice to see Billy, and Rob has an SEC bias. Final call for calls this evening. If you would like to join the program, here we go. There's the link right there. Boom. All right, Jackpot. We've had a good show this evening, man. We got NFL draft coming up. Braves won tonight. They get the sweep over the Marlins. They're looking scary good without Spencer Strider in the lineup. So
they have the best record in the National League, I do believe.
17-6, something like that. I mean, they've won.
Yeah, which is strange because this time of year, the Dodgers usually, it seems like the Dodgers always are running away with it. But they're like 14-11. They're still in first place in the West, but not by a lot.
Yeah, they're the Dodgers, man. They spend a shit ton of money.
Whatever happened to the San Francisco Giants? They used to be a really good baseball team.
Yeah, they were good for a while. Yeah, but then
they were.
Remember when the Braves were in the NL West and they were always battling the Giants?
Yeah.
Big Barney Ross joins the program.
I can't get the beat off the media.
Hey, it's Big Barney Ross. I seen that video where Jackpot put out a career moves. I got a thought for you here before I get into the question I was actually calling for, but I could come down to South Carolina with my barbecue sauce and we could sell chicken. We can open up a chicken shack right beside Chick-fil-A and sell it on Sundays and just call it the side chick. Don't answer right away. Mull it over. But the reason I called, Kentucky plays South Carolina in baseball Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was going to call and see how you feel about South Carolina's chances there, and I'll get off and listen to what you got to say.
All right, Big Barney Ross joining the program there. Kentucky's pretty good.
Did Kentucky take 2 or 3 from Tennessee, or did what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see the Gamecocks dropping 2 out of 3. You know, they should have won 2 of those games against Arkansas. That was just they kind of got outplayed. I think the best part of that series was watching Mark Kingston get tossed. I don't know. They ugh, I don't know. They have all this talent down there and they're just pissing it away.
Well, you know, it's interesting. He does
Tennessee
get all.
won the series. They're telling me. I thought that they did.
Yeah.
I think they won the Sunday game.
Kentucky's a top
Kentucky
10
won
team.
the Friday game.
Right. Kentucky's a top 10 team, though. So there you go with that. Gamecock Chucks is probably 1 out of 3. You know, I wouldn't. That's we're talking about coaches on the hot seat. Like if you guys don't get to a super regional, I think you got to reevaluate Kingston. I think he should have been gone anyway, but
I don't think he should have been brought back.
Yeah.
When I saw that he got an extension, I was like, really? I'm like, what the hell?
That was one of those extensions that he got for. You got that extension because you were.
He went to a super regional.
Well, no, because of recruiting purposes. If you don't, he's a lame duck coach. That's the mentality behind it. And he can't go and recruit these kids and be like, hey, I'm going to be here. But, I think with the transfer portal, if I'm an AD, I got to take a stand on some of these things.
Well, he could do like Steve Spurrier did. I'd probably be around another 5-6 years.
Yeah, but you could also be like
quitting next year.
You could also be like, look, none of these guys are going to stay here 3-4 years anyway. So there you go.
Yeah.
Should be an interesting series. We'll see how that works out. NFL draft, we'll have some rundown on that on Sunday and whatever the hell else happens. Transfer portal is going to be huge this week. Lots and lots of players are taking visits around the country. Take a peek at Florida because I've read they've got like 8 guys that are projected to be starters, especially like 2 are wide receivers. I'm not saying they're going to get all of them, but old Billy Napier may just retool that whole team with transfers because he's got a lot of them coming in. So we'll see how that works. All right, Jackpot, you got anything else?
I don't.
All right. Well, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on Sunday.